Welcome to Book Recaps. Today I'm going to be reading a bedtime story called The Tale of Peter Rabbit. Sit back and relax. The Tale of Peter Rabbit is a beloved children's book written and illustrated by Beatrix Potter. It was first published privately in 1901, before being published by Frederick Warne Co. in 1902. The book follows the mischievous adventures of Peter Rabbit, who disobeys his mother's warnings and ventures into Mr. McGregor's garden to feast on his vegetables. The story is set in the idyllic English countryside, and its simple yet engaging plot has captivated generations of children and adults alike. The meaning behind The Tale of Peter Rabbit is often seen as a cautionary tale about the consequences of disobedience and the importance of listening to wise counsel. Through Peter's misadventures and subsequent narrow escape, children learn about the dangers of venturing too far from home and the importance of following rules and guidelines. The story also imparts the value of perseverance and quick thinking, as Peter manages to evade Mr. McGregor's clutches through his cunning and resourcefulness. Overall, the timeless appeal of The Tale of Peter Rabbit lies in its ability to entertain and educate children about important life lessons in a charming and engaging way. Now to the story. Once upon a time, in a cozy burrow beneath the roots of a big fir tree, lived a family of rabbits. There were 4 little rabbits who lived there with their mother, Mrs. Rabbit. One sunny day, Mrs. Rabbit went to the market, leaving her children at home. Before she left, she had given them a stern warning not to leave the burrow and to be on their best behavior. But Peter, the youngest of the rabbits, was a mischievous little thing, and he couldn't resist the temptation to explore the big world outside. So, he hopped out of the burrow and ran down the path, without a care in the world. He didn't even notice the hungry-looking fox lurking in the bushes. The fox, spotting a chance to have a tasty rabbit for dinner, began to chase Peter. Peter, scared for his life, ran as fast as his little legs could carry him. Peter was finally able to escape the fox, but he soon realized that he was lost. He wandered around, looking for a familiar landmark, but he couldn't find his way back home. It was getting dark, and Peter was getting scared. He felt like he was all alone in the big, scary world. But then, he saw a friendly-looking bird who offered to help him find his way back home. Peter felt a glimmer of hope and agreed to follow the bird. Will the bird lead Peter back home safely? Let's find out in the next part of the story. Once in the garden, Peter had the time of his life, eating radishes, lettuce, and French beans to his heart's content. However, his joy was short-lived as he heard a sudden rustling in the bushes. It was Mr. McGregor, the owner of the garden, coming his way. Peter quickly ran to hide under a nearby basket. Mr. McGregor searched the garden, but couldn't find Peter. Just as he was about to give up, he spotted the basket under which Peter was hiding. He rushed to pick up the basket, but Peter was too quick. He jumped out of the basket and started to run as fast as he could, with Mr. McGregor chasing him. Peter ran and ran until he reached the fence, but the gate was locked. He tried to climb over the fence, but it was too high. In his desperation, he spotted a hole in the fence and squeezed through it. As he was running away, Peter realized that he had lost one of his shoes in the process. Although he was safe, he felt ashamed to return home to his mother with just one shoe. When he finally made it back to his mother's house, she scolded him for being so careless and disobedient. She told him how dangerous it was to go to Mr. McGregor's garden, as he could have easily been caught and turned into a rabbit pie. Despite his mother's scolding, Peter felt happy to have escaped from Mr. McGregor's clutches and enjoyed the memories of his adventure in the garden. Once Peter had eaten his fill, he began to feel quite sleepy. He looked around and saw that the birds were settling in for the night, the sun was starting to set, and the air was growing colder. Peter decided it was time to head back to the burrow before Mr. McGregor or his cat came looking for him. Peter hopped down from the wheelbarrow and made his way through the garden, keeping a wary eye out for Mr. McGregor. As he passed the tool shed, he heard a rustling sound and froze in place. Mr. McGregor was coming. Peter didn't know what to do, but he knew he had to act fast. Thinking quickly, Peter dashed for the gate, but it was locked. He ran to the walls, but they were too high to climb. He turned back to the gate and began to squeeze himself through the bars. Just as he was about to make it through, Mr. McGregor caught him by the tail. "Gotcha," said Mr. McGregor as he pulled Peter back through the gate. Peter struggled and wriggled, but it was no use. Mr. McGregor held him tightly and grinned wickedly. Well, what do we have here?" he said. "A little rabbit who's been eating my vegetables. I'll teach you a lesson you won't forget." Peter was terrified. He had heard stories about what happened to rabbits who were caught by farmers, and he didn't want to find out if they were true. He struggled and kicked, trying to get free, but Mr. McGregor held him too tightly. Just when Peter thought all was lost, he remembered his jacket. As Mr. McGregor was gloating over his capture, Peter slipped off his jacket and ran away as fast as he could. Mr. McGregor was so surprised that he didn't even notice Peter's escape. Peter ran and ran until he was safely back in his burrow. He snuggled up with his sisters and brothers and fell fast asleep, dreaming of the exciting adventure he had just had. The end. Subscribe for more videos and leave a like. See you next time.